Morning. Don't know where you are, but where I am, it's early, the world's still stretching, the coffee's hot, and the signals are already coming in. Let's take a look before the day starts making demands. This is Signal Check with Adrian North. It's Saturday, July 4th. Most of the country's still asleep, but systems never rest. The alerts have been piling up since yesterday, some of them already pulling focus, pulling resources. Let's check the early signals before the noise sets in. A serious Linux kernel vulnerability just surfaced. They're calling it bad apple. The designation is CVE 2026-46242, and what makes it particularly dangerous is this: an unprivileged user, someone with no special access whatsoever, can exploit it to gain full root control of a machine. Root, complete control. It hits Linux desktops, servers, and Android devices. The last part matters because Android runs a Linux kernel underneath, billions of devices potentially in scope. The flaw lives in the EPAL subsystem, which handles event notifications. Researchers found that a carefully crafted sequence of system calls can trick the kernel into handing over privileges it should never surrender. Patches are rolling out now, but the window between disclosure and widespread patching, that's when things get messy. If you're running production Linux or managing Android fleets, this one's on the urgent list. Mac users, different threat. Security researchers have spotted a new information stealer targeting macOS called PAM Stealer. And it's clever. The attack starts with fake websites impersonating Maxay. That's a popular cookboard manager app. User downloads what they think is legitimate software. Instead, they get malware that immediately starts looking for credentials. But here's the twist. PAM Stealer doesn't just grab files and hope for the best. It directly interacts with PAM, pluggable authentication modules. The system macOS uses to handle login credentials. It prompts the user for their password under a believable pretext. Software update, system verification, something that feels normal. Once it has that password, it unlocks everything. Keychain access, saved credentials, browser data. The whole authentication stack. It's a reminder that social engineering on macOS doesn't need to exploit a zero-day. It just needs to look like something you'd trust. Now this one's big in a different way. A joint operation involving Google has disrupted NetNut, a residential proxy network that had compromised roughly 2 million devices, most of them Android. Smart TVs, streaming boxes, phones. NetNut sold access to these devices as residential proxies. Businesses would pay to route traffic through real home IP addresses to avoid detection, scrape data, bypass geo-restrictions. The problem? The device owners had no idea their hardware was being used this way. The infection spread through malicious apps and firmware. Once installed, the malware turned devices into proxy nodes, silently funneling other people's internet traffic through your home connection. Your bandwidth, your IP, your liability. Google's threat analysis group worked with law enforcement to take down the infrastructure and cut off access to those 2 million devices. It's a win, but it also highlights how much of the smart device ecosystem operates in this murky space. Cheap hardware, opaque supply chains, firmware you can't audit. The attack surface is enormous. Switching gears entirely. There's a piece in Runner's World challenging one of the most common assumptions in training, that your weekly mileage should be based on your race distance. The logic usually goes like this. If you're running a 5K, you don't need as many miles as someone training for a marathon. Makes sense on the surface. But one coach argues that's the wrong way to think about volume. What actually determines optimal mileage? Your training age, injury history, time availability, and how your body responds to load. A newer runner training for a marathon might need lower volume than an experienced runner prepping for a 5K. The race distance is just one variable, not the formula. It's a useful reminder that systems, whether training plans or software architectures, break when you optimize for the wrong metric. Over in Africa, Starlink adoption is accelerating. The Economist published a piece this week looking at how Africans are turning to Starlink in regions where traditional ISPs either don't exist or can't deliver reliable service. For a lot of communities, this is the first time they've had access to broadband that actually works. No waiting for fiber builds that may never come. No dealing with infrastructure that fails every time it rains. Just a dish, a clear view of the sky, and suddenly you're online. The geopolitical and economic implications are still unfolding. Starlink bypasses the usual gatekeepers, national telecoms, regulatory bottlenecks, legacy infrastructure. That's liberating for users and complicating for governments used to controlling access. The conversation on Hacker News has been particularly lively, as you'd expect. Lots of optimism, some caution about centralization and dependency on a single provider. But for now, for a lot of people, it's just working, and that's a signal worth noting. And finally, ultra running. The Western States 100 finished yesterday, and both the men's and women's winners set new course records. France's Vincent Bouillard crossed the finish line in 13 hours, 46 minutes, and 15 seconds. New men's course record. American Jen Lichter won the women's race in 15 hours, 28 and 5 seconds. Also a course record. Western States is one of the oldest and most iconic 100-milers in the world. It runs from Squaw Valley to Auburn, California, 100 miles through the Sierra Nevada with over 18,000 feet of elevation gain and 23,000 feet of loss. It's brutal. And both of them just redefined what's possible on that course. If you've ever tried to run 100 miles or even thought about it, you know how much has to go right. Pacing, nutrition, mental endurance, logistics, these performances are remarkable. That's Signal Check for today. Close the tabs, step outside, the day's waiting. We'll talk again next time.